Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And in this video, we're just going to go through some steps to create a simple React app to view liquidity pool data from Uniswap v3. This particular app is going to be called a token value app. You can see that right there at the top. And again, we're just going to be pulling some really simple information about the price in ETH and um, the value of those tokens. I'll explain it a little bit more here in a moment. But first, we're just going to go through the links to kind of set up your environment. This was like the biggest kind of hurdle I started to run into as I started to learn about React. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just install some of these programs that'll help you get started. First one is Node.js. The next one is Visual Studio Code. This is obviously your text editor. You'll want to install Git, and here you'll just click Download for Windows, and then it'll take you to the most useful version here. Whether you're using Chrome or the Brave browser, whatever browser you're using, you'll want to install the React developer tools as well. And we won't be using it, but to test your APIs in the future, we're going to be using Postman. And so now we're just going to go back to the instructions, and I'm just going to kind of walk through how I pieced this together. So the first thing I did was just to make sure that everything was in the same directory. Um, it was very, very important I show this as well. And then I'll kind of show you the folders that I had all the documentation in. So we'll pull up the code base. And you can see it is all in the feedback app. That's what I called the feedback app. We titled it differently on the tab, and I'll show you where that is located. We'll get to that just in a moment. But again, I just wanted to kind of show off the code bases real quick. We'll kind of get back to the instructions. So again, just check where everything is installed. Here, we installed it in this folder. And you can see there's all the programs we need. And I would just put it inside that folder. And then here's our app working. And so again, this is very important. It's one of again, one of the biggest hurdles I had to overcome, simply because I thought, this could be installed anywhere on your computer, but it has to be in the same directory to get these things to work properly together, to get these files to work together in VS Code. So we'll just minimize that. And here I'll show off the extensions just in case these help you write the code a little bit better. I'm using ES7, the React Redux React native snippets, JavaScript ES6 code snippets, live server. I don't believe you'll need it for this, but for future projects, I would install it. This is just a simple dark theme for Visual Studio. Prettier is just a code formatter. And then here we have the React Native React Redux snippets for ES6 and ES7. So again, next we're just going to simply open up our terminal, and this is where we'll create the folder. Excuse me, this is where we're going to change the directory to the folder that we're using for the app. So here, without getting things a little bit too confused, um, we can just close all these for now, and you'll have a fresh terminal pulled up here, and you can either close it. hit Control tilde, or you can go up here and click New Terminal. And so here is where you'll just type this in: change directory, feedback app. Once the directory has been changed, you'll be in the right location to get started installing some of the dependencies. The first thing you want to do is just create the app. That creates a basic template. You're going to install the Uniswap SDK, and to check afterwards that you've installed this correctly, you can just type out npm list. This will take a moment to install, so just give that a moment, depending how fast your internet is, and then again check on the installations with npm list. Next, you're going to you're going to type in npm start in the exact same place, and this is actually going to initialize what you see here. So this will make the server run. It won't show this information immediately because you haven't put the code in just yet. But depending on how your code looks, it should look something similar to this. So just to kind of break down how this code is working, React is sort of wrapping the JavaScript in what I've learned to call as syntactic sugar. So when you look at the app.js, we can see, excuse me, we look at the look at the app.js. You can see that when we output or return a certain piece of information, we have to wrap this in a div to get regular HTML elements to display correctly. And that's just again a little small example. I'm still learning. I'm sure like a lot of you are that. Again, like this is just one of those little key points about React that can help build on an existing knowledge of JavaScript. Okay, so we'll pull back up our document. So once the index HTML is loaded into the browser, again, the React is sort of like a syntactic sugar to wrap the JavaScript code. What we're going to do now, now that we have that template um, in VS Code, um, we're going to delete everything in here except for the README, the package.json, the package-lock.json, and .getignore. Anything else above that can be deleted. You want to keep your source folder, but just leave those four things alone and delete everything else in the source folder. All right, so once you've completed those, the browser will show a quick error. It'll be like a type of kind of a red message in red letters. Um, and next, you're going to create the app.js file and index.css file in the source folder. And you'll simply do that by making sure that you're in the source, and you could click this icon up here, click new file, and you'll type it out directly. Index.css, index.js, app.js. So once those are in there, excuse me, you don't have to create the index.css. Excuse me, you don't have to create um, the app. The index.js. Excuse me. The app.js needs to be created and the index.css needs to be created. And so here is where you can start to use AI tools to build the code. I was given perfectly clear instructions and not be afraid to use these tools and to educate some of my users on some of these things. And so to begin, I recommend a somewhat basic understanding of JavaScript just so you can feed the AI a little bit more precise instructions based on how JavaScript works. just so you can start building the app through the guidance of a tutorial. I started with a simple Udemy tutorial. There's lots of different tutorials out there. So once you kind of get a jump start on the structure of the app, the index.js, you should have somewhat of a footing. For each file I started with a simple template by following video instructions for the code, and again, request the AI make revisions that I wanted. I'll go ahead and show off OpenAI real quick. This is just the site I use. You can see I've gone through several different examples just to kind of get a working prototype. But again, I wasn't afraid to go through these. These are several paragraphs long each one. So again, just go through it to the best of your ability and to see what you can come up with. So I'll kind of show you where we're placing this code again. Again, it's in the source folder. There's the app.js, the index CSS, and the index.css and the index.js. Kind of show you the code real quick, lower the terminal a bit. And you can see here we're importing our necessary components to make this app work because we've installed them here. There's our Uniswap SDK. There's our React DOM, React. And so we're going to go back to the instructions. And again, your code might look a little different. The CSS might look a little different the way you stylize it. But again, it should kind of be similar when you're pasting in some of these contract addresses when we do get to look at the token data specifically. So again, import the React components needed in the index.js file, like I stated. Confirm you import the index.css as well. The files are case sensitive if referenced in the code. So I'll kind of show you how case sensitive. Um, Here you see that it is capitalized app.js. These aren't. So we have capitalized it there. We've also capitalized it here and there. So again, these things are case sensitive and they do need to be in the same directory for the app to work. One thing I ran into just as a kind of a key point was a checksum message error. Checksum checked for typos by using a checksum algorithm, which is a way of adding an extra layer of validation to ensure that the address is correct. If an address is not checksummed, it means that it is more susceptible to typos and errors entered or copied. Again, for this example, we're using perfectly correct token addresses to find the values of certain ones. And I made sure to verify them before making this video. For the purpose of this app, we're simply showing that it's possible to bring liquidity pool info into the web browser. So just to real quick, I shared the index.js. If you want to way to quick start this and jump into it, I'll be sure to provide this document at the bottom of the video in the description. And again, and here's just a little bit of the instruction I gave. There's the first bit, and there's that second bit of instruction that I fed the UI just to make sure that it came out as precise as it could. I can get, I could have, I could have given it even more precise instructions, but again, I decided to leave it here, and I was able to make it work with some of the work that I had already tried in previous conversations with the AI. So once you have styled the index.css to your liking and have the working app.js, make sure to save the code in VS Code. So once you've got this saved, we'll go ahead and do a save here. We'll do a refresh. So you can see that I am getting another type of error too. The request rate exceeded. This message will not be repeated. The default API's keys for each service are provided as a highly throttled community resource for low traffic projects, early prototyping. So all this means is it's just on a public build meant for testing and prototyping. I have gone and made an API key through Etherscan, but again, for the purpose of this project, it's not necessarily needed. You won't have the most precise, up-to-date token value, It's exact enough for the purpose of this project, just to show you it's possible to pull information into the browser. So kind of just as a recommendation, refresh your browser if it doesn't automatically, kind of like I did there. And you can kind of see here, if we refresh it again, we won't run into that message. It just pops up every now and then just to let us know we're on a prototype. So here I'll kind of get into the weeds and show you how the code can pull different types of liquidity data. Um, we'll also use this website. We're going to use CoinGecko to check the value of certain tokens. So the first one that we're going to start with is going to be Uniswap. All right. So right now we're going to look at the Uni to Ethereum value. Um, all we're going to do is copy that token address. We're going to bring back up our code in the app.js. Here we're going to go ahead and replace the token address here. This one is for Yearn Finance, and we're pasting in the one for Uniswap now, saving it, and we get the token value here. So this is the amount of ETH that you would receive for one Uniswap, and this is the amount of Uni you can receive for one Ethereum. So just to kind of double check that here, we're going to go over and check the price. Yeah, and so CoinGecko is letting us know that this value is as precise as it can get. I'll bring this into the screen so you can see it a little bit better. So you can see here, 296. We'll get it more precise. 589. So you can see it's as close as it can possibly get. Just to kind of show you how it works again, we'll bring up another example. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So we're going to bring up Aave now. Show the Aave to ETH ratio. And again, get the value here. The value here for one Aave, get 0.04 Ethereum. And for one Ethereum, get 24 Aave. And we'll double check that here too. So 0.040771. Yeah. So for this amount equals one Aave, and excuse me, this is an ETH equals one Aave, and this in Aave equals one ETH. And we'll show off just one more example just to give you kind of a more of a tangible. We'll go ahead and show USDC. That one's a little bit easier. Well, we'll go through all the examples. Why not? Just to kind of prove that this is fully functional right now. Okay. Okay, so it caught an error. So right here we have a issue we see where this pool address isn't matching up with this exact one. So let's try a different one. It may not have the address correct, but again, this is just kind of showing you you could run into these issues. It's not uncommon. So we'll try wrapped Bitcoin, and we'll see if that token data shows up. Okay. Okay, so we got that token data to show up. We'll see how this reads off, because this is quite a large number. So right here, we're looking at the wrapped Bitcoin to wrapped ETH ratio. And we're going to go on to CoinGecko to see if this is actually correct. Okay. So it looks like it is. It's just breaking down the value in a weird way. This number it should have a decimal point in it. So this should be 15.5786 worth of Ethereum, and this is the value in terms of the what the ETH to wrap Bitcoin ratio is. And I'm going to double check that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Apologies for the delay. I'm just making sure I can get the correct number for everyone to display here. Okay. So yes, the token decimal point is just a little off right here. It's another bad example. But again, this is just kind of showing you how you can go through the motions in your own project. Let's finish by showing off curve, because I know the curve to ETH ratio is correct. Okay. I appreciate everyone's patience. So here we have the curve to Ethereum ratio. I'm going to go back and go to CoinGecko and pull up the curve just to confirm this is the right data. And we can also go to Uniswap and confirm this information as well. Okay, so just to confirm we have the right contract addresses. There you can see it's listed at the bottom there, in the bottom left corner. And there's the other one right there in the bottom left corner. And we can go to our code to confirm that those are correct. Okay, there's curves, there's ETH. Yes, there's correct. So we're going to look at the curve to ETH value again. And so for every 0.0005 ETH is excuse me, for, yeah, 0.005 ETH, one curve. And for 1959, 1959 curve is one ETH. We'll double check that as well. That's correct. All right, so again, a little bit of a rough patch there at the end with the data we got from our the USDC and wrapped Bitcoin. But probably here is the best lesson is to double check these addresses. If you can add the Ethers npm dependency and make it work with the Uniswap SDK, you could, all by all means try. I don't think that I don't think you necessarily need to use both to pull this kind of simple data. But again, if you're looking to kind of mimic my project, make sure to double check the USDC and wrapped Bitcoin addresses we have here, because the rest of them did work except these two. Um, I'll kind of bring up the code one more time to give everyone a kind of a feel for that. Again, we looked at the index.js briefly. We talked about how to style the index.css to your liking, and spent a good deal of time talking about how the app.js needs to look for the code base to work. So I'll kind of scroll up here and give everyone kind of the beginning and refresh one more time here. And again, you'll get this message here on the side, and we'll show the Uniswap token price just to end it. So we clicked save, it refreshed. For here, we've got the correct value now. We're going to go to Uniswap on CoinGecko just for the old time's sake. And so yeah, that's correct. So here again, just a sample of how you can view token data using the Uniswap SDK. And again, my name is Mark Pretty. Please reach out to me at my Linktree. I'll include that link below. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. You guys have a great rest of the day.